Hey, hey friends, welcome back to Doña's Plants with Doña. Today I'm going to be sharing what I've learned about the care for this plant. It's a Pilea Peperomiodes, aka Chinese money plant, aka friendship plant. These babies are very, very easy to propagate, and I got this from my local grocery store randomly for $3, and Grover's wanted one. So I bought it. So I'm going to be going through the care tips for this plant, and I'm also going to be propagating all the little babies. In a minute, I'm going to change the camera scene or camera view so that it's just the counter here, what I'm working on. I have a bunch of little pots. I have some compost water, some soil, and some other stuff, so I can show you my process. You can actually see the plant itself as I'm working through everything, and I will share what I've learned about light, what I've learned about propagation, obviously, what I've learned about fertilizer, what I've learned about soil, and watering. So pause for just a second so I can change the camera view. All right, friends, so here is this cute little plant. And if I take it out of its pot, there are babies everywhere. They're coming out the bottom. They're growing there. They're growing here. I'm going to take out this little guy on the side. And they are all over this little guy. So, I got to stop saying so. I need you guys to hold me accountable. All right. First and foremost, let's share light. One of the most important things, because all plants need light, otherwise they can't perform photosynthesis, which means they will die. So anywho, these plants have thick succulent-like leaves. They love a lot of sunlight, and I can tell that this plant has gotten a lot of sunlight because of how densely packed these little, I don't know what they're called, tubules or something are on. You can barely even see the main stalk because it's gotten so much sunlight that it's just been pushing out new little foliage stems back to back to back. This plant also needs to be rotated regularly so that the foliage grows in a symmetrical fashion. Otherwise, you'll notice that it'll all start leaning on one side. Wherever the light is where it's going to reach. And then you'll have this plant that really only has foliage growing on one side. So that's something else to be aware of. From what I've learned, this plant will do really well in a south-facing window. Wherever you have the most light is where this plant's going to do the best. What I'm going to do is propagate these and place them in these little pots, or maybe even these little pots, depending on how big the babies are. And I have a grow light, and I'm just going to place them all directly below the grow light and see how they do. Because of where I live, I will have sunlight pretty long days for probably another 2 months, probably until about October, but I'd like to place all those plants there and just see how they do. When it comes to soil, these plants are not very picky when it comes to soil. This soil mix feels pretty light, so I am going to add some perlite to the mix for the babies, but typical potting mix is just fine for these plants. Like all plants, they require sunlight and water to survive, but they also need the nutrients that are in the soil in order to complete all of their planty functions so they can create food for the plant itself to consume. Most plants, because they all do come from nature, usually absorb whatever nutrients from the soil around them. That comes from decaying plant matter, decaying animal matter, runoff from storms and things like that. As it runs through the soil, also absorbs nutrients, and that's what the plants are absorbing to consume. So that's the importance of fertilizer. Plants will live without it, but it will take them a much longer time to grow. Okay, let's move on to propagation. This is my first time ever having this plant, so this is absolutely my first time ever propagating it. I'm going to begin with this baby because I can see that it is basically an entire plant. So I'm going to follow it and see how much. Oh, it just popped right off. So here's one little baby. And I see a little baby leaf fell off. I see another one here that I'm going to dig up a little bit. Try to take off. Oops, and there's another little baby. There are quite a few. This one's a little bit bigger. I'm just gonna drop this soil on the counter. And I'm just looking for the base of these babies. That one's a little bit too close to the middle. Here's another one. Let me see if I can find this one. It smells really good. Let's see. Oh. And there's another little baby. Not sure if that one's gonna grow the best. Doesn't have as many roots as the other ones do. And I'm also going to try for this little one way down here. This one I'm gonna trim. It's got some roots coming off. I'll probably plant it. Look how cute it is. It's so tiny. So tiny. Probably plant it with the other ones. The other ones I'll leave. I'll probably have to get another pot to put the mama plant back in. I'm gonna take off some of this foliage, ones that don't have leaves. I'm also gonna trim off these flowers because I don't want flowers right now. So I'm picking off the flowers. There's one that's budding that I can't, quite reach. Sorry, Grover. Okay, I may trim off all of these that look really damaged. That leaf and this leaf. Oh, maybe I'll just leave them. I think they'll fall off when they're ready. There's quite a few babies that are still in there, but I'm going to leave them alone. So before I put the mama plant back in a pot, perlite is super airy. It is actually like puffed volcanic soil or something. So there's that. And I'll fill this with soil. It's okay. Okay, let's shift over. Oh no, my little tiny baby. No. Okay. Just put you over yonder. All right. I'm going to be using this little tiny pot for one of these. I guess I'll just try this one first. So I'll fill this with mostly soil. Oh, it's sort of going in there. Now you guys probably can't see it. Put some perlite. So there we go. Soil and perlite. Put some more soil. Put some more perlite. Put some more soil. Put some more perlite. And the perlite is just to help aerate the soil. I will poke my finger and pop that baby right in. Add some more soil. There's like bark in here. Add more soil to support the base of that new little plant. And voila. Also would be super cool to do this if you have those little paper cups that people start seedlings in. That way, whenever this little baby's roots are happy enough to repot, you can just put the entire thing into another pot instead of having to dig it back up. But the cool thing about these little plastic pots is you can just squeeze them and gently remove the plant whenever its roots are ready. So that one's done. Let's do another one, that same size pot. We got soil. We got perlite. We got soil. We got perlite. We got soil. And we got perlite. All right, same thing. Coconut finger. Putting that little baby plant right on up in there. Doing my best to be delicate. With the plant itself. There we go. Baby number 2. Super cute. Put it over there for now. Okay, let me get some more soil. And then I'll put baby number 3, as well as super tiny baby. I guess in this one, it looks a little bit smaller. All right. Soil. Something else that's really helpful, especially for these, well, for any pot that has drainage holes. Nursery pots are awesome because they all have tons of drainage holes, but it causes the soil to come out. So you can use coffee filters as a way to hold the soil in the little pot so it doesn't fall out everywhere while you're working on repotting something, just to keep your area a little cleaner. All right, poke a finger. Oh no, don't fall over. And then, I don't know how this little baby's gonna do. Look at that little tiny thing. We gonna see. Oopsie. As I cover it with soil immediately. We gonna see. It's just above the soil, but that's okay. Okay. Oh my goodness gracious. So there's baby number, what, 3.5 or so? Something like that. Okay, now let me grab another pot for Mama. Be right back. Okay, this pot is for sure bigger. Add some soil. Add some perlite. One more each. Add some soil. Oh, that's probably way too much soil. I forgot. She's already got a root ball. So let's tilt this over. Sort of spread it out like that. Place her into her new home. Kind of corkscrew her in there. And add some more soil. Can they see that, Grover? Is that in the shot? Mm-hmm. Add some soil all around. everyone's getting compost tea to drink once this is all done. So whenever I repot, I don't really ever break up the root ball. It's just not something that I do. I know sometimes you can, especially if a pot or a plant is super, super root bound. This plant, oops, and I broke a stem. This plant was not, and I prefer not to mess with plants' roots if I don't have to. I just leave them be. So, but I do know, I have heard that it's beneficial for plants if the roots are really, really tight and they're starting to circle the pot. It helps to massage them a little bit, so that almost to encourage them to fill out the new pot, so they're not so tight. Okay, so real quick, take everything out. Scissors, shovel thing. Sorry, that's probably real loud. Oh, there's dirt everywhere. Hold on, friends. We got dirt everywhere. Okay. Yes, this pot is dirty, but that is okay. Okay. Are all these babies in clear view? All right. So here's the compost tea, which is just compost and water. Nothing crazy. Smells like dirt, if anybody cares. And oh, probably should have anticipated some of the dirt coming out. I might have to rinse that off. Whatever. We'll go from the side. Maybe I should have put this in something smaller. Hold on. Okay, putting it into something with a spout. So I don't want to murderize the babies, especially a little tiny one. Okay, let's try this again. Trickle, trickle, trickle. Here we go, drip on out. Compost tea flowing through, and that's okay. Maybe not, maybe it'll just float on top in a really creepy fashion. Okay, little baby, don't go away. Oh no! The little baby. It just needs to have a little access to sunlight and it'll be okay. So as most of you can probably assume or guess, compost tea has the benefits of putting compost into your plants. And half the time. Sound like a game show host. All you gotta do is put some compost in some water. Boom, compost tea. Nothing crazy. Grove and I were watching a YouTube video and this guy made it seem like it was super rocket science, talking about a bubbler and some sugars and stuff, which I guess you could sort of ferment it like you would a kombucha or something, but that sounds like a lot of work, and I don't want to do a lot of work. I'm going to move Mama Plant to the corner so I can pick up some of her foliage so it doesn't get soaked, because if it gets soaked, then it's going to start rotting if it isn't dried quickly enough, and I ain't having that. So I'm just really saturating the soil by watering them slowly so that their roots will have some water to access. This plant has just been over by my kitchen window ever since I got it a couple days ago. Excuse me. just gonna rinse this little, okay, we'll just use this one. I'm just gonna rinse the top off where this dirt is at. Where I just kind of threw all the compost dirt on top. Like a ninny. Sorry, little plant. My bad. We still cool though, right? We still fam? Okay, cool. I did water this plant the day after I got it. So I'm probably not going to let it soak in this water because I can tell by picking these little babies up that their soil is pretty saturated. Ooh, Mama's heavy as heck. So I'll probably squeeze some water out of her soil. And I've been doing that with my smaller plants. My plants that are in 2 or 4 inch containers, when I water them, I'll squeeze them to get all the excess water out before I put them back in their homes. Probably do the same for this mama plant because I don't think she needs all this water. So I just squeeze. You can see how that water come out. And then I'll put her in a drip tray before I put her in her new home. All right, friends, that is all for today. Doña's Plants with Doña. Again, our plant for today is the Chinese money plant, aka friendship plant, aka Pilea Peperomiodes or something like that. Plant is very, very easy to propagate. I propagated all 3.5 of these babies off this one mama plant. And she's got quite a few more babies that I'm just not confident enough to take off. To recap, this plant likes a lot of sunlight. It prefers for the sunlight to be nice and even so that it grows in this even, round fashion. Otherwise, like all plants, it will lean to one side and reach for the light. This plant likes to be watered when it is dry. It doesn't like to be completely dry. However, again, like most plants, it will survive a little underwatering versus overwatering. This plant's foliage is really wrinkly, so it probably wasn't watered very regularly wherever it was. However, it did receive lots of light, and that's why all of this foliage is so tightly packed here on the main stem. When it comes to propagation, these babies will grow directly out of the main stem, and they'll also grow out into the foliage. And you can just pop them out and plant them in soil. You can always propagate them in water if you'd like to see the roots grow. But they grow really well. Their foliage just feels almost succulent-ish. It's pretty thick and waxy. So they're pretty resilient little plants. Fertilizer. I'm not sure of the specific fertilizer mix for this plant as far as the levels of nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. However, I'm assuming it'll probably just like a typical fertilizer mix. And like all plants, as I mentioned, plants truly only need water and sunlight to survive if their soil is completely devoid of nutrients. However, having those extra nutrients will help the plants flourish and grow more quickly. And I watered all of these plants with Compost Tea, which is just my compost, a scoop of compost put into a mason jar. I filled it with water, swirled it around a little bit, and watered the plants with it. Nothing fancy at all. Whatever I have left over is going to go right back into my compost bin, so nothing crazy. And I believe that's everything. All right, friends. If you learned anything from this video, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you liked this video, the way that this one was filmed as far as being able to see the plants more closely, let me know if that works better for you. I know it's pretty difficult to see me and the plants in the same picture because we are very different sizes. So share with me what you think. I hope you have a beautiful day. And Doña out!